The research station floated in the empty darkness of space like a metal island. Silver walls reflected the distant stars while inside. Scientists from across the galaxy worked on the most dangerous project they had ever seen. The station was called Haven 7. But most people who worked there called it the prison. Dr. Han walked down the long metal hallway toward the observation deck. Her footsteps echoed in the quiet corridor. She had been the head scientist on this station for 2 years now, and every day felt heavier than the last. The weight of 17 deaths pressed down on her shoulders like a mountain. She stopped. At the thick glass window that looked into the containment chamber, behind the energy barriers, the creature waited. The Void Maw was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It looked like a living mountain made of dark crystal that never stopped moving. Its surface shifted and changed like water, but it was solid as stone. Thousands of glowing eyes covered its body, opening and closing like breathing. Some eyes were as small as coins, others as large as dinner plates. They all burned with a cold blue light that made people feel sick just looking at them. The creature was 30 feet tall and 50 feet wide. It had no mouth that anyone could see, no arms or legs like other animals. It was just a mass of living crystal that pulsed with energy. When it moved, the whole station shook. When it was angry, the lights flickered and computers crashed. Dr. Heen touched the communication device on her wrist. "Control room, this is Dr. Heen. How are the readings today?" A voice crackled back through the speaker. "Same as always, Doctor. Energy output is holding steady at level 7. Psychic emissions are still too strong for most species to handle. We had to increase the dampening fields again." Dr. Hien nodded. The psychic dampening fields were machines that blocked the creature's mental attacks. Without them, anyone who came near the Void Maw would go insane within minutes. Even with the machines running at full power, people still had nightmares. The lucky ones only lost sleep. The unlucky ones never woke up. "Any word from the Zinthari delegation?" Dr. Hewen asked. "They left this morning. Master Kelthan said the creature was beyond their abilities. He looked pretty shaken up." Dr. Hewen closed her eyes. The Zinthari were the most powerful mind readers in the galaxy. They could control the thoughts of entire armies. If they couldn't handle the Void Maw, who could? She thought about the last 3 years. So many experts had come to the station. The Corvin Beast Whisperers could talk to any animal. In the galaxy, they lasted 2 days before the creature drove them away screaming. The synthetic AI collective called the Nexus sent their most advanced machines. The Void Maw destroyed them all in minutes. Each failure made the creature stronger. It fed on electromagnetic energy, and every time someone tried to control it, it absorbed their power. The military wanted to use it as a weapon. The scientists wanted to study it. The politicians wanted to hide it. But nobody could tame it. The creature had been discovered on a dead planet called Kepler 44b. A mining team found it buried deep underground, sleeping in a cave made of the same dark crystal as its body. When they tried to dig it out, it woke up. The mining ship barely escaped. 2 weeks later, a research vessel arrived to study it. That ship was not so lucky. The Void Maw had killed the entire crew of 47 people in less than an hour. Security footage showed the creature reaching out with invisible hands, touching their minds and crushing their thoughts like paper. The survivors from the mining ship described hearing screams that came from inside their own heads. Dr. Hyen had been part of the second research team. She remembered the first time she saw the creature. It had been smaller then, maybe 20 feet tall. 3 years of feeding on energy had made it grow. Every failed attempt to tame it had made it stronger and more dangerous. The worst part was that the creature seemed intelligent, didn't just attack randomly like a wild animal. It watched people. It learned their patterns. It knew when they were afraid and when they were confident. Sometimes it would stay perfectly still for days, pretending to be asleep. Then, when scientists got too close, it would strike. Dr. Hayen walked to her office and sat down at her desk. The walls were covered with charts and pictures of the creature. Red marks showed where people had died. Blue marks showed where equipment had been destroyed. The pattern made no sense. The creature's attacks seemed random, but Dr. Han knew better. There was intelligence behind those thousands of glowing eyes. She opened a file on her computer. The faces of 17 dead researchers looked back at her. Dr. Kim had been the first to die. He was studying the creature's energy patterns, when it suddenly reached out with its mind and stopped his heart. Dr. Rodriguez had been trying to communicate with it using mathematical equations. The creature had driven her insane with visions of dark spaces and screaming sounds. She was still alive, but she hadn't spoken a word in 8 months. The door to her office opened. Captain Nari walked in, her uniform crisp and clean. She was the station commander, a tough woman who had served in 3 galactic wars, but even she looked tired these days. "The transport ship arrived an hour ago," Captain Nari said. "The new supplies are being loaded now?" "Good. We need more psychic dampening equipment. The old machines are starting to fail. There's something else. We have some exchange students on board, kids from that new planet, Earth." Dr. Han looked up from her computer. Earth, the planet they just made contact with. That's the one. 3 students, part of some educational program. Supposed to study here for 6 months? Dr. Han frowned. Earth was a new world, barely advanced enough for space travel. Their people had never seen alien life before. Are they ready for this? The creature's psychic emissions affect everyone differently. Some species handle it better than others. I briefed them about the safety protocols. They seem excited too. Be here. Dr. Haynes stood up and walked back to the window. The void maw was moving again, its crystal surface rippling like water. The lights in the corridor flickered as its energy output increased. "Keep them away from level 7, she said. "Last thing we need is to explain to Earth why their students disappeared." Captain Neri nodded and left the office. Dr. Haynes stayed at the window, watching the creature that had become her obsession. Somewhere in that mass of living crystal was an intelligence that no one in the galaxy could understand. It was a puzzle. That had cost 17 lives and driven 12 people insane. She didn't know that the answer to that puzzle had just arrived on a transport ship from a small blue planet called Earth. The transport ship docked at Haven 7 with a soft bump that barely shook the station. Inside the ship, 3 young humans pressed their faces against the small windows, staring at their new home in space. None of them had ever been off Earth before. Everything they saw was like magic. Day sat in the back seat, quieter than the others. He was 19 years old, tall and thin, with dark hair that fell across his eyes. While his friends pointed at the stars and alien technology, Day looked homesick. Already, he missed his grandmother's farm in Seoul. He missed the smell of rice fields and the sound of birds in the morning. "Look at those ships," said Myung, pressing her nose against the window. She was studying languages at university and had been chosen for this program because she was smart with words. "I can't believe we're really here." Taeho laughed and took pictures with his camera. He was an engineering student who loved machines and computers. Everything on the space station looked like the best toy he had ever seen. "My little brother won't believe this. Real alien technology." Day nodded but didn't say much. He had been selected for this program because he was the best student in his agricultural class. The aliens wanted to learn about Earth farming, and Earth wanted to learn about growing food in space. It was a good trade, but Day wished he could have stayed home. The ship's door opened with a hiss of air. A woman in a blue uniform stepped inside. She was tall with short black hair and serious eyes. Her name tag said, Captain Nari. "Welcome to Haven 7, she said in perfect English. The universal translator in her ear made it sound like she was speaking their language. "I'm Captain Nari, the station commander. Please follow me." The 3 students grabbed their bags and followed her into the station. The hallways were wide and clean, with metal walls that hummed with electricity. Lights in the ceiling glowed soft and blue. Everything smelled like recycled air and machine oil. "This is amazing," Myung whispered. "It's like being inside a computer." Captain Nari led them to a large room with windows that looked out into space. Earth was visible in the distance, a small blue dot among the stars. Day stared at it and felt his heart get heavy. "This is the main observation deck," Captain Nari said. "You'll spend most of your time here and in the research levels. But first, I need to tell you about the rules." She pressed a button on the wall. Holographic display showed a map of the station. Different levels were marked in different colors. Green levels were safe. Yellow levels needed special permission. Red levels were forbidden. Station has 12 levels, Captain Nari explained. You are allowed in levels 1 through 6. Level 7 is completely off limits. Never go there. Never try to go there. Security system will stop you. But if it fails, you could die. Tejo raised his hand. What's on level 7? Captain Neri's face became serious. Something dangerous. We're studying a creature that we found on a dead planet. It's not like anything we've ever seen before. It can hurt people just by thinking about them. Hurt them how? Myung asked. It sends thoughts into your mind. Bad thoughts. Scary thoughts. Most people can't handle it. Some people go crazy. Some people die. Day looked up from the window. Why do you keep it here? Because we're trying to understand it. If we can learn how to communicate with it, it might help us understand other dangerous life forms. But until we figure it out, it stays locked up.
Captain.
Nari showed them more of the station. It's a dining hall where they would eat with scientists from 12 different planets. The library with books and data from across the galaxy. The communications room where they could send messages back to Earth. The creature affects everyone differently, Captain Nari said as they walked. Some species feel it more than others. We use psychic dampening fields to block its mental attacks, but you might still have bad dreams if you feel sick or scared. For no reason, tell someone immediately. They passed a group of tall, thin aliens with blue skin and large eyes. The aliens moved quickly and kept looking over their shoulders as if something was following them. Those are Zenthari, Captain Nari explained. Their mind readers. They can hear thoughts from miles away. But the creature on level 7 scares them so much they can barely function. Myung watched the aliens hurry past. If they're so powerful, why are they afraid? Because power doesn't always mean safety. Sometimes the strongest people are the most vulnerable. They reached the living quarters where the students would stay. The rooms were small but comfortable, with beds and desks and personal computers. Each room had a small window that looked out into space. You'll start your studies tomorrow, Captain Neri said. Dr. Huyan will show you the research labs. She's been working on the creature longer than anyone else. That night, Day lay in his bed, looking out at the stars. The station was quiet except for the hum of machines and the soft whisper of air recycling systems. He thought about his grandmother's farm and wondered if the rice was growing well without him. Somewhere in the station, he could hear a strange sound. It was very soft, almost like singing, but not quite. It didn't sound like any machine he knew. It sounded lonely, like a whale calling across empty ocean. Young knocked on his door. Day, are you awake? Do you hear that sound? I hear it, he said. What do you think it is? I don't know. Maybe it's just the station settling. These old ships make all kinds of noises. But Day didn't think it was the station. Sound was too regular, too much like a pattern. Like someone trying to say something, but not knowing how. Tejo joined them in the hallway. I've been listening to it for an hour. It's coming from below us, from the lower levels. They all knew what was on the lower levels. The creature that had killed 17 people, the thing that drove the galaxy's most powerful mind readers away in fear. Maybe we should tell someone, Myung said. Tell them what? Day asked. That we hear music from the monster? The sound came again, soft and sad. It reminded Day of his grandmother's singing while she worked in the garden. It's old songs in a language he didn't understand, but beautiful anyway. It doesn't sound dangerous, Tejo said. Amy sounds sad. Day nodded. He had been thinking the same thing. The creature that everyone said was a monster sounded like it was crying. None of them knew that the Void Maw had been quiet for months, until tonight. Till 3 young humans from Earth arrived at the station and heard its song. The next morning, Dr. Hyun met the 3 Earth students in the main laboratory.
Ow.
She had dark circles under her eyes from another sleepless night. The creature's singing had kept most of the station awake. In 3 years, the Void Maw had never made sounds like that before. Welcome to Haven 7, Dr. Hayan said, shaking hands with each student. I hope you slept well. We heard singing, Myung said. Is that normal? Dr. Hayan paused. No, it's not normal. The creature's been quiet for months. We're not sure why it started making sounds last night. She led them through the research levels, showing them laboratories full of alien technology. Scientists from different planets worked side by side, studying samples and running tests. The air hummed with the sound of computers and machines. "This is where we study agriculture from across the galaxy," Dr. Han explained today. "We have plants that grow in zero gravity, crops that can survive on frozen planets, and fruits that produce their own light." Day looked at the strange plants with interest. Some were purple and grew upside down. Others looked like metal trees with silver leaves. But he noticed something odd. Many of the plants looked sick. Their leaves were yellow, and their stems were bent. "Are they dying?" he asked. Dr. Han nodded sadly. "We've been having problems for months. The plants grow for a while, then they start to fail. We think it's because of the creature's psychic emissions. Even with the dampening fields, its presence affects living things." They moved to the engineering section, where Tejo could see the station's machines. Huge computers lined the walls, their screens flickering with data. Many of the screens showed error messages and warning lights. "The creature's energy interferes with our equipment," Dr. Han explained. "We have to replace computers every few weeks. Sometimes the whole system crashes for no reason." Myung studied the translation computers in the communications room. "How do you talk to something that doesn't use words?" "We don't," Dr. Hyun said. "That's the problem. We've tried everything. Math, music, pictures, even direct brain connections. Nothing works. The creature just gets angry and attacks." After the tour, Dr. Hein left the students to explore on their own. "Stay in the safe areas," she reminded them. "If you hear any alarms, go to your rooms immediately." Day walked to the agricultural bay to study the sick plants. He had grown up on his grandmother's farm and knew about caring for growing things. As he examined the yellow leaves, he noticed something strange. The plants weren't dying from disease or lack of water. They looked lonely. That sounded crazy, but Day knew plants better than most people. On his grandmother's farm, plants grew better when people talked to them and cared for them. These alien plants had all the food and light they needed, but no one loved them. He was thinking about this when he saw a small robot moving through the bay. It was a maintenance drone, about the size of a cat, with 6 legs and a blinking red light. But it wasn't moving like the other robots. It seemed confused, walking in circles and bumping into walls. Day followed the robot as it left the agricultural bay. It rolled down the hallway, its red light flashing faster. Other people walked past without noticing it. They were used to seeing robots everywhere. The robot led Day to a service elevator. When the doors opened, the robot rolled inside. Day looked around. No one was watching. He stepped into the elevator with the robot. The elevator went down, past level 2, past level 3, past level 4. Day watched the numbers change on the display. 5, 6, 7, level 7. The forbidden level. The elevator stopped and the doors opened. The robot rolled out into a dark hallway. Day knew he should go back up, but something made him follow. The hallway was different from the rest of the station. As the walls were thicker and the lights were dimmer, he could hear the hum of powerful machines. Warning signs covered the walls in dozens of languages. "Danger. Keep out authorized personnel." But all the security doors were open. The robot had somehow unlocked them all. Day followed the robot down the hallway. His footsteps echoed in the silence. He could feel something ahead of him, like a presence watching him. The air felt thick and heavy. At the end of the hallway was a massive door marked with radiation, symbols and biohazard warnings. The robot stopped in front of it and made a small beeping sound. Then it powered down and went still. Day looked at the door. Beyond it was the creature that had killed 17 people. The thing that drove the galaxy's most powerful minds insane. He should run. He should call for help. He should do anything except open that door. But the singing started again, soft and sad, like his grandmother's lullabies. The sound came from behind the door, and suddenly, Day understood. The creature wasn't singing. It was crying. The door had a small window made of thick glass. Day looked through it and saw the containment chamber. Energy barriers created a cage of light in the center of the room. And inside the cage, was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. The creature was huge, bigger than any animal on Earth. Its body was made of dark crystal that shifted and moved like liquid. Thousands of eyes covered its surface, each one glowing with soft blue light. But it wasn't scary. It looked sad and tired and very, very alone. As Day watched, the creature's eyes turned toward him. All of them. Thousands of glowing eyes focused on the small window where he stood. The singing stopped. Alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the hallways. Dr. Hyan's voice came over the speakers. Security alert. Level 7 containment breach. All personnel to emergency stations. But there was no breach. The creature was still in its cage. The alarms were going off because its energy output had suddenly spiked. For the first time in months, the Voitma was fully awake. Day pressed his hand against the window. The creature moved closer to the energy barrier. Its surface rippled like water, and its eyes grew brighter. It was looking at him with what could only be described as hope. Emergency teams to level 7, Dr. Hyan's voice said over the speakers. Possible civilian casualty. Footsteps echoed in the hallway behind Day. Security guards were coming. He had maybe 30 seconds before they found him. He looked at the creature one more time. It was still watching him with all those glowing eyes. The sadness in them was so deep it made his chest hurt. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the glass. "I'm sorry you're alone." The creature's surface shimmered. For just a moment, Day could swear he saw something that looked like a smile. Then the security guards found him and pulled him away from the window. But the damage was done. For the first time in 3 years, the Voidma had made contact with another living being, and that being was a 19-year-old farm boy from Earth who saw loneliness where everyone else. The security guards dragged Day away from the containment chamber, but Dr. Hand stopped them in the hallway. She looked angry and worried at the same time. "What were you thinking?" she demanded. "That creature could have killed you just by looking at you. We lost 3 researchers last month who got too close to the barriers." "I'm sorry," Day said. "I was following a broken robot and I got lost." Dr. Hyan looked at the security cameras. The footage showed Day following the maintenance drone through every security checkpoint. Each door had opened for him automatically, even though his access card should not have worked. "That's impossible," the head of security said. "Those doors are programmed to stop anyone without level 7 clearance. The system must have malfunctioned." "Systems don't malfunction in perfect sequence," Dr. Hand said. Something wanted him. Down here, she looked back at the containment chamber. Through the thick glass, they could see the Void Maw moving restlessly behind the energy barriers. Its crystal surface rippled and changed color, cycling through deep blues and purples. All of its thousands of eyes were focused on the hallway where they stood. "Look at it," Dr. Hand whispered. "It's been dormant for weeks. Now it's more active than we've seen in months." Captain Nari arrived with a team of medical technicians. "Is anyone hurt?" "We detected massive psychic emissions from the creature." Dr. Hyan checked her instruments. "The readings are off the charts. Its energy output is 3 times normal levels. But there's something strange about the patterns." She showed them the data on her tablet. Normally, the creature's psychic emissions were chaotic and painful, like static on a radio. But now, the waves were smooth and rhythmic, almost like music. "It's not attacking," she said in amazement. "It's trying to communicate." The medical team ran scanners over Day, checking for psychic damage. Most people who got close to the Voitma suffered headaches, nightmares, or worse. But Day seemed perfectly fine. "How do you feel?" the doctor asked. "Sad," Day said honestly, but not scared. "It wasn't trying to hurt me." Dr. Hand stared at him. "The creature has killed 17 people. It drove 12 others insane." "How can you say it wasn't trying to hurt you?" "Because I know what loneliness looks like," Day said. "My grandmother taught me that angry animals are usually just scared or lonely. That thing isn't a monster. It's homesick." The adults exchanged glances. Dr. Hyan had spent 3 years studying the creature and had never thought of it as homesick. But looking at the smooth patterns on her instruments, she began to wonder. "We need to get him away from here," Captain Nari said. "The longer he stays, the more agitated the creature becomes." But as they started to leave, the Void Maw made a sound they had never heard before. It was soft and musical, like a whale song, but sadder. The sound made everyone stop walking. "It's singing again," Myung said. She and Taeho had arrived with the emergency team. "But it sounds different now." Dr. Hayan checked her instruments. "The psychic emissions are changing. It's like it's trying to match Day's brainwaves." "That's impossible," the security chief said. "The creature can't read human minds." "We tested that." "Maybe it can't read our minds," Dr. Hayan said slowly. "But maybe it can read our emotions." She looked at Day with new interest. "What were you feeling when you looked at it?" "Sorry for it," Day said. "Reminded me of when I first came to Seoul. For school, I was so homesick I cried every night. My grandmother's farm was only 50 miles away, but it felt like another planet." The singing from the containment chamber grew louder. Through the glass, they could see the creature moving closer to the energy barriers. Surface was changing color rapidly, cycling through every shade of blue and purple. "It's responding to his emotions," Dr. Hayan said with excitement. "Not his thoughts, but his feelings. That's why it attacks everyone else. It's trying to share its emotions, but alien minds can't handle the intensity." Taeho pulled out his tablet and started recording. "The energy readings are incredible. It's like the creature is trying to show us something." Myung listened to the singing with her trained ear for languages. "There's a pattern to it. It's not random. It's like it's telling a story." Dr. Hayan made a decision that would change everything. "I want to try something." "Day, would you be willing to go back to the observation window?" "Dr. Hyun, I can't allow that," Captain Nari protested. "It's too dangerous." "Look at the readings," Dr. Hyun said. "The creature isn't trying to hurt him. It's trying to talk to him. This might be our first real chance to communicate with it." Day nodded. "I want to help. It's so lonely in there." They returned to the observation window, but this time with full monitoring equipment. Dr. Hayan attached sensors to Day's head to measure his brain activity. Taeho set up cameras and recording devices. Myung prepared to analyze any sounds the creature made. When Day appeared at the window, the Voidma immediately moved to the energy barrier closest to him. Its thousands of eyes focused on his face, and its singing became softer and more melodic. "Amazing," Dr. Heen whispered. "Psychic emissions are completely calm now. No aggression, no chaos. It's like a different creature." Day pressed his hand against the glass. The creature moved even closer, its crystal surface almost touching the energy barrier. If the barrier hadn't been there, they would have been touching. Day said softly, "I'm sorry you're trapped in there." "I know how it feels to be far from home." The creature's surface rippled like water. Colors flowed across its crystal skin, and its eyes grew brighter. The singing changed, becoming more complex and beautiful. "It's showing me something," Day said. Suddenly, pictures in my head. Not scary ones. Beautiful ones. Dr. Hayan checked her instruments frantically. "The psychic connection is stable. No dangerous spikes." "What do you see?" Day closed his eyes and let the images flow through his mind. A place made of crystal, cities that grow like flowers, people made of light and energy. "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." "It's home," Dr. Han breathed. "It's showing. You, it's home." The creature continued to sing, and Day continued to watch the visions it shared. For the first time in 3 years, the Voidma had found someone who could understand its pain, someone who knew what it meant to be far from home. Over the next 3 days, Day spent hours at the observation window talking with the Void. Dr. Han and her team watched in amazement as the creature shared more visions of its homeworld. Each session brought new discoveries about the being they had thought was a monster. Myung worked with the translation computers, trying to understand the patterns in the creature's songs. She found that different melodies meant different things. High notes seemed to mean happiness or excitement. Low notes meant sadness or longing. The creature was using music the way humans used words. "It's like learning a new language," Myung explained to Dr. Hoon. "But instead of words, it uses emotions and pictures." Taeho studied the energy readings from each session. He noticed that the creature's power output changed depending on what it was trying to communicate. When it showed visions of its home, the energy was warm and gentle. When it remembered being captured, the energy became cold and sharp. "Not just random psychic noise," Taeho said. The creature is controlling its emissions like we control our voices. The problem is that most species can't handle the intensity. Dr. Hune reviewed all the data from the past 3 years. The creature's attacks made sense now. It wasn't trying to hurt anyone. It was trying to share its memories and emotions. But alien minds couldn't process the raw emotional data without being overwhelmed. Think about it, she explained to Captain. Nari, imagine trying to pour an ocean into a teacup. The cup breaks. Not because the water's evil, but because it's too much to hold. So why can humans handle it? Captain Nari asked. Dr. Hune pulled up brain scans comparing different species. Look at this. Human brains have larger emotional processing centers than most other species. You've survived wars, famines, and disasters that would destroy other civilizations. Your species is built to handle intense emotional experiences. During the 4th session, the creature showed Day how it had arrived in their galaxy. The visions were clearer now, like watching a movie in his mind. There was an accident, Day told the watching scientists. Some kind of portal or gateway. It was trying to travel between crystal cities in its home dimension when something went wrong. The creature showed him the moment of the accident, energy crackling through space. Dimensions tearing apart and suddenly being pulled into an alien universe where everything was different and wrong. It's been lost for years, Day continued. Maybe decades. It doesn't know how to get home, Myung gasped. That's why it attacks people. It's not aggression, it's desperation. It's trying to ask for help, but no one understands. The creature's song changed, becoming more urgent. New visions flowed into Day's mind. He saw the dead planet where it had been found, the mining team that discovered it, the research ship that tried to capture it. It was sleeping, Day said, hibernating to save energy. When the miners woke it up, it thought they were there too. Help, but they were scared and tried to hurt it. Dr. Hyun felt sick, so it defended itself. Every attack was just self-defense. It's been afraid this whole time, Day said. Afraid and lonely and trying to find a way home. The creature showed him more visions. The crystal cities of its home dimension, where beings of pure energy lived in harmony. Gardens of living light, oceans of liquid starlight, and music that could reshape reality itself. It's beautiful, Day whispered, but it's fading. The longer it stays here, the weaker it gets. It's homesick to death. Dr. Han checked the creature's biological readings. He's right. Its energy levels have been declining slowly over the past 3 years. We thought it was going dormant, but it's actually dying. Can we help it? Taeho asked, can we send it home? Dr. Han looked at the portal technology they had been studying. Maybe the creature's memories contain the quantum signatures of its home dimension. If we can build a stable gateway, it would take months, Captain Nari said. Maybe years. We don't have that technology. The creature's song became sad again. It had heard their conversation and understood. It was going to die far from home, surrounded by beings who had feared and misunderstood it. But then Day had an idea. What if we don't need to build a gateway? What if we just need to repair the one that brought it here? The creature's thousands of eyes focused on him. Its song became hopeful. Show me, Day said. Show me how the portal worked. The visions came faster now. The creature showed him the technology of its home dimension, the way energy could be shaped and directed. The mathematics of interdimensional travel. Taeho watched the energy readings spike. It's downloading information directly into his brain. The quantum equations, the dimensional coordinates, everything we need to build a portal. But will it work? Dr. Hayon asked. The creature's song became confident and strong. It had been an engineer in its home dimension, a builder of gateways between worlds. It knew exactly how to get home, just needed someone to help it build the way. There's one more thing, Day said suddenly. It wants to give us something. Us for helping. The creature's surface began to glow brighter. Small pieces of crystal broke away from its body and floated toward the energy barrier. They looked like seeds made of pure light. Crystal seeds? Dr. Hyun breathed. Living energy converters. They could solve our power problems across the galaxy. Payment, Myung said, for helping it get home. The creature's song became gentle and grateful. After 3 years of fear and loneliness, It finally had hope. And it was all because a farm boy from Earth had looked past its fearsome appearance and seen a homesick soul in need of help. Dr. Han began making plans. They would need to contact the Galactic Council, gather the best scientists, and work together. To build a gateway home would be the most complex project ever attempted. But first, he had to convince the rest of the galaxy that the monster they feared was actually just a lost child who wanted to go home. 2 weeks later, the Galactic Council arrived at Haven 7 with a fleet of warships. They had come to make a final decision about the Void Maw. Either find a way to use it as a weapon, or destroy it before it could escape and threaten other worlds. Admiral Kethvar led the delegation. He was a tall alien with silver skin and 4 arms, representing the military forces of 12 different planets. Behind him came scientists, politicians, and weapons experts who had been studying the creature from afar. Dr. Haon, Admiral Kethvar said as he boarded the station. "We've read your reports about the human student. It's interesting theories, but we need proof that the creature is truly safe." Dr. Haon led the delegation to the observation deck. The Void Maw, waited in its containment chamber. But it looked completely different now. Instead of chaotic dark crystal, its surface glowed with soft, beautiful colors. Its thousands of eyes were calm and peaceful. "What did you do to it?" one of the council members asked. "Nothing," Dr. Han said. "We just listened to it." Day was sitting by the observation window, reading a book while the creature watched him. The two had become friends over the past weeks. Sometimes Day would tell the creature about Earth, about his grandmother's farm and the rice, fields and soul. The creature would respond with gentle songs and visions of its crystal cities. "This is Day," Dr. Hoon said. "He's the one who made first contact." Admiral Kethvar looked skeptical. "Ah. A farm boy from a primitive planet tamed the galaxy's most dangerous creature." "He didn't tame it," Dr. Han said. "He understood it." She showed them the data from the past 2 weeks. The creature's energy readings were completely stable. Psychic emissions were calm and controlled. Most importantly, it had been sharing technical information about portal technology and dimensional physics. "It's not a weapon," Dr. Han explained. "It's an engineer. In its home dimension, it builds gateways between worlds. The accident that brought it here was just a malfunction in one of its own portals. Myung had been working with the creature's language patterns. It's been trying to ask for help this whole time. When it attacked people, it was trying to share its memories so they could understand what happened." "But why didn't it work with other species?" Admiral Kethvar asked. Teho pulled up brain scans on his tablet. "Human brains are different. We can process intense emotions without being damaged. Other species get overwhelmed by the raw emotional data. Humans are tough," Dr. Han said simply. "Emotionally tough. You've survived things that would destroy most civilizations." The creature began to sing, a soft melody that filled the observation deck. Even the skeptical council members found themselves relaxing as they listened. "It's beautiful," one of them whispered.
"I did they saying hello," Day said from his chair.
"It's happy to meet new friends." Admiral Kethvar looked at his instruments. Psychic readings are completely peaceful. No aggression, no threat patterns. "Because it's not aggressive," Dr. Haon said. "It's homesick." She showed them the creature's gift. The crystal seeds glowed softly in their containment tubes, each one containing enough energy to power a small city. "It wants to thank us for helping it get home." "Home?" Admiral Kethvar asked. Dr. Haon activated the holographic display. "We've been working on a portal device based on the creature's memories. It's possible to send it back to its own dimension." Portal design was incredibly complex, requiring technology from dozens of different species. But the creature had provided all the necessary information, sharing its knowledge freely with anyone who would listen. "It will take months to build," Dr. Han said, "but it's possible." "And if we let it go?" Admiral Kethvar asked. "What's to stop it from bringing an army back to invade us?" The creature's song became sad. It had understood the question.
"I'll look
at it," Day said, standing up from his chair. "Does it look like a conqueror to you?" The creature moved closer to the energy barrier, its surface rippling with gentle colors. It began to sing again, but this time the song was different. It was showing them visions of its home, but not the beautiful crystal cities they had seen. Before, it's showing us the war, Myung said, tears in her eyes. Its home dimension is being destroyed. The visions were heartbreaking. The crystal cities cracking and falling, beings of light fading away, the creature's own family disappearing into darkness. It's a refugee, Dr. Hayon said quietly, the last of its kind. It's been trying to get home to save its people, but it's too late. The creature's song became a lament, a funeral dirge for a civilization that no longer existed. It had been so desperate to return home that it hadn't realized home was already gone. It has nowhere to go, Day said. It's the only one left. The council members looked at each other. They had come prepared to deal with a monster, not an orphan. Do you propose, Admiral? Kethvar asked. We help it, Dr. Heon said. We give it a place to live. In return, it shares its knowledge with us. Portal technology, energy conversion, dimensional physics. It could advance our civilization by thousands of years. And if it becomes dangerous? Day walked to the observation window and pressed his hand against the glass. The creature moved to meet him, its surface glowing with warm colors. It won't, Day said. It's not a monster. It's just someone who needs a friend. The creature began to sing again, but this time the song was hopeful. It showed them visions of a possible future. Humans and aliens working together, building portals, to explore new dimensions, sharing knowledge and friendship across the galaxy. It wants to stay, Myung said. It wants to help us. Admiral Kethvar made his decision. We'll try it. But the creature remains under observation, and the human stays as its liaison. I'd like that, Day said. Someone should keep it company. Over the following months, the creature became a valued member of the research station. It taught them about dimensional physics and energy conversion. It helped them grow better crops and build more efficient machines. Most importantly, it became proof that understanding was always better than fear. The creature took a new name, Bitna, which meant to shine in Korean. It liked the name because it reminded it of the light beings from its home dimension. Dr. Hayan often found Day and Bitna working together in the agricultural bays. It's a young human talking about farming, while the crystal being sang gentle songs. The plants grew better than ever before, thriving in the peaceful atmosphere. You know, Dr. Hayan said, one day the galaxy owes you a debt. You solved a problem that stumped our best minds for 3 years. Day shrugged. I just listened. Grandmother always said that most problems aren't as complicated as they seem. Sometimes you just need to care enough to pay attention. The creature's song echoed through the station, no longer a cry of loneliness, but a melody of friendship. The galaxy's most dangerous monster had become its most gentle teacher. All because a farm boy from Earth had looked past fear and seen a friend in need, and in the end, that was the most human thing of all.